Why do JavaScript for loops often have off-by-one errors? Imagine writing a simple loop to go through your list of favorite movies or your shopping cart items. It seems straightforward, but sometimes it just doesn't work right. That's because of off-by-one errors, a common mistake in JavaScript loops. These errors happen when the loop runs one time too many or one time too few. It's like trying to count apples and accidentally counting one extra or missing the first one. In JavaScript, arrays and strings start counting from 0. The first element is at index 0, and the last element is at index the length of the array -1. If you forget this, you might write a loop that goes beyond the last element. For example, if you write a loop that runs while the index is less than or equal to the array length, it will try to access an element at the position equal to the length. But since array indices go from 0 to length -1, that last index doesn't exist. This causes the loop to run one extra time and access undefined data, which can cause bugs or errors. The common mistake is using less than or equal to signs incorrectly. If you want to go through every element, you should use less than. For example, writing for let I is equal to 0, I less than array length, I++, make sure the loop stops before reaching an invalid index. Using less than or equal to less than or equal can cause the loop to run one time too many. Another tricky part is the fencepost problem. Think of it like counting the gaps between objects. If you have 10 items, there are 9 gaps between them. If you try to count the gaps instead of the items, you might get confused about how many times to run your loop. This can lead to off-by-one errors if you're not careful about what you're counting, the items or the spaces between them. Starting your loop at 1 instead of 0 can also cause issues. If you start at 1, you might skip the first element, or if you forget to stop at the right point, you might miss the last element. Mixing inclusive and exclusive ranges can also cause confusion. For example, counting from 0 to less than or equal to the length can be inconsistent and lead to mistakes. In real-world JavaScript development, these errors can cause bugs like skipping the first or last item in a list, trying to access data that doesn't exist, or even crashing your program. To avoid these mistakes, always remember that arrays start at 0. Use the less than sign in your loop condition to stop before reaching the invalid index. Think about whether you want to include the last element or stop before it. Test your loops with small arrays, empty arrays, or single-item arrays to see if they behave as expected. Understanding these details helps you write loops that work perfectly every time, making your code more reliable and easier to maintain.